Hello, hello. Hey, y'all. It's Becky here from the Beckosphere. That was very dramatic. Where we talk about climate news and solutions. I feel like this light is like really harsh on me. I feel like that's not better. I wonder if I can make this a little warmer of a light, maybe? I'm just pale as fuck. So, no matter what I do, I'm just pale. Like, there's no way around it. There, now it's warm light. Hey, Cosmic Seekin. You are quite faint. Oh, am I quite faint on audio? I could turn it up. There's like a way to turn it up on the mic. Low sound. All right, let me know when it's getting better. This is full volume on here, and I can turn it up. Okay. How about now? Is it better now, or is it still too low? I feel like I'm really orange now. I'm very yellow. Back to this one. Still low? Really? That's weird. Okay. Well, how about now? Because now my mic is at full volume and this is Twitch stream is at full volume. So is that better? Better? Okay. Then I will stick at high volume. So you know, I raise my volume as streams go on, okay? I start talking a little loud. So just warning you. But cool. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. We are going to talk today about part 2 of our adventure looking at different candidates, climate takes or lack thereof. Last time it was pretty humorous. We got some really petty people and some really shitty takes. And we were pleasantly surprised occasionally too. So, yeah, then if that sounds good to you, then let's go ahead. We will come back if the sound gets weird. Okay, sounds good. Thanks for keeping my microphone honest, you know. But yeah, all right. Well, let us go ahead. I have the same article that I had last time that determined which house races we have to focus on. And we did half of them. So we're going to do the other half today. The first half we did was this California one, which we determined that they both suck. Because one of them is just not great in just downright not great, and this guy gets so much money from fossil fuels, so he's also really bad. So not great for either California choice. We determined that Caraveo is definitely better than Kirkmeyer. And all of this is recorded if you want to check back and see where the processes were with that information. But we went through each of their campaign sites and then also checked their environmental voting records. We determined that Golden is golden and Polikin is a no-go. This one wasn't highlighted. We learned that Elisa is pretty good. One of the better ones. And Barrett is bonkers. We learned that Papas definitely has a very good understanding of the things that we need to do to tackle the climate crisis and the plastic pollution issue, whereas Leviat continues to just be a pretty face. She had no takes on energy, frankly, one way or another. She had an energy issues section in which she said very little. Didn't even say fossil fuels or clean energy by name. Let's see. And then we determined that both of these are actually not bad. Both of them seem to actually have pretty good environmental track records. So New Jersey is doing decent either way. And then that becomes, unfortunately, what Republicans in the chat would not like to see, which is that I would then default to the Democrat one, because if the Republican one if more seats are given to Republicans for the House and the House flips, and if the House flips, then we are stonewalled from being able to do absolutely anything for the climate, because vast majority of the Republican Party does not give a shit about the climate crisis. So, then it's like, it would kind of tip anyways. But honestly, both of them, with their environmental records, pretty good. So now we move on to New Mexico, where we have Yvette. Is that how you pronounce that? Yvette Harrell and Vasquez. Vasquez, what's her first name? Gabe. No, sorry, his name. Gabe Vasquez. Okay. So let's start by looking up Yvette. Okay. So she has a representative one, but she also has a candidate one, and that's usually where they have their issues. And that's where I have my issues. So let's go ahead and check that out and see. Oh, cool. I got retweeted by an energy for my Twitch stream from Andreas Corellis, I think it is. He did a book a while ago that I read on community solar and all that good stuff. Really recommend. Hey, what's up, Em and Lotus? How's it going? Does that mean it's really bad or really good? It probably means it's really bad. I have broken down. I am going to get a PC. So y'all just need to deal with my shitty frame rate for just a little longer, if that's okay. Because I know it's shitty, and it's because I'm using a Mac, and I'm really sorry about that. I'm guessing it means that shit from popping off. I'm assuming popping off is a bad thing in this context. Oh, sorry, Andrea is not the Andrea I was thinking of also. Another win for the PC Bros. Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've heard before, is it's fine until I start trying to switch between either the screens or just trying to pull up a different page, then it's bad. Yeah. Yes. So, my friend Justin, who sometimes Twitch streams different video games, so you can check him out. He's Jay Sarch. And then also Carlos from A Difficult Truth ganged up on me. And they're like, Becky, we're holding an intervention. You need to get a PC. I was like, fine. So yes, the PC bros have won, and I will get a PC. But what's very exciting, congrats are finally coming over to the winning side of the argument. Yeah. What's exciting though is that after this stream, I will be able to apply for being an affiliate. So yay! Y'all can start helping me pay for that new PC. Yeah, this is the last stream that I need to qualify for the amount of streams that I do per 30-day period, and also the amount of concurrent viewers that I need to have, which I think it's like 3, because I'm at like 2.98. I had a dark moment there when I came back from my family vacation, because it'd been a week. But thank you so much for all of you helping me get there. And I'm super excited to continue to see where the Beckettsphere stream goes. Honestly, a PC is a modern day hearth. You basically don't have a home without access to the internet and shit, so you might as well have a good one, right? Or something. Bad analogy. You were so confident halfway through that description. Stay strong. It's a good analogy. Oh, welcome, Salami Salat. You should not buy a new PC. PCs have a massive carbon footprint. Thank you for reminding me of the carbon footprint. Yeah, no, actually, I'm not planning on getting a new PC anyways because my MacBook honestly is not even that old. And so I also am, doing all this on my own. And so I have a budget. So I'm not planning on getting a new PC. But if you guys have any recommendations for brands, because I'm not building mine, I'm sorry, I'm just not. So if you have any recommendations for brands, let me know. James, I saw the recording of Carlos's chat. I saw you going off about plant-based eating, which I appreciate. It's good. So yeah, I can definitely just offset it by eating plant-based. Well, because I'm moving back in with my parents, I'll be able to bug them about their diet more too. So I'll have like a three-way, sort of vector of offsetting capabilities. Don't expect them to take you in fast. I know a streamer who had to wait over 2 months and still nothing. Really? Ugh. Well, that sucks. Thanks for the heads up. Every single thing has a carbon footprint at this point. For an individual person to care about the effective carbon footprint they create with a single purchase is completely irrelevant. To be honest, that's true. Yeah, it's which is why, as I believe it was James, or correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was James in the Difficult Truth chat yesterday that was talking about plant-based foods. But going more plant-based in your diet is one of the actual best things that you can do. Doesn't sound like me at all. It's one of the actual things that you can do that will make an impact, where most things that you do with single purchase and stuff doesn't really make much of an impact. Hey, what's up? Welcome. Yuri Petrov. Welcome. Sorry, I am terrible at pronouncing anything, so never get offended by my lack of pronunciation capabilities. Yes, it's always good to question what is really needed, and everything matters. There are excuses. Yeah, though, here's the thing. You got to do things that make you happy. And I think that's still very important. I think you should care about your environmental impact and choose your top 3 things that you just won't compromise on, and allow yourself to indulge and enjoy on those topics, and everything else, reduce as much as you can. Find the things that really matter to you, that you're willing to put the money and the carbon impact into, and the other stuff, reduce your carbon impact around. You know what I mean? Because you got to still enjoy your life. You have to. If not, what is all this for, right? So enjoy your life. I'm not one of those environmentalists that think that you should exorbitantly suffer, because that's not fair as to get more people in the fold of being interested in environmental impact if they think that they have to suffer to do it. That's not what we want to promote here, right? So make sure that you enjoy what you do still. I think that's important. Yeah, like dietary doses are different right now because there isn't as much as single purchases, but constant, unending consumption. Yes. Stop your grandstanding over personal luxuries. Yeah, it's very simple, very accessible, and makes a difference without much of any sacrifice. It's much easier to give up streaks than it is to give up mobile phones, but we're kind of at the crossroads where it is somewhat one or the other. If we want to do good tech stuff, we have to at least give a little on the foot end. Yeah. And the thing is, for me, I can think of the carbon impact of streaming or of buying equipment for my platform, or not being able to do other environmental things because I'm focusing on the Beckosphere. But I believe that the Beckosphere offsets some of the stuff that I do because I am trying to help other people understand climate change as a topic, as an issue, and care more about it. And I think that makes a bigger impact than anything I could personally do on my own. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to suffer, but we need to change our habits to buy happiness. I agree. No, obviously happiness is not from just purchases, but sometimes your hobbies do involve purchasing things. And I think that it is a reasonable expectation to water is wet. Exactly. I believe it's a reasonable expectation to, expect that sometimes you do need to purchase things. And I don't think that it's fair for you to constantly beat yourself up over it. Live your life. Live your life. Do your best, but live your life, right? Anyways, we've been staring at this woman for long enough. Let's see what she's about. All right. So Yvette, I like her background's nice. Commitment to America. Cool. Would it be in the shared values section, or there's a how to vote section? Okay, shared values is probably her version of issues. Is it clickable? Oh, there it is. It just takes a sec. It's probably me. I won't blame her website for my computer's actions. Okay, cut regulations. That's a good start. Burdensome rules and regulations prevent growth, forcing job creators and industry to spend more on compliance than creating new jobs. Yvette will be a champion for industry. Wait. I'm sorry, but is it environment? Aren't checking regulations like someone else's job? So you're taking away someone else's job so they can have more jobs, right? Is that weird to say? Like, regulators are people too? Yvette will be a champion for industry, eliminating unnecessary regulations and getting government out of the way. We must ensure mining, energy, and AG are protected from government overreach. Okay, but we also do need to recognize that water goes beyond borders. Air pollution also goes beyond borders. And mining sometimes produces both, as well as energy production. And so that's where it becomes necessary to have those regulations in place. I feel like people forget the purpose of regulations or regulatory bodies. Like, we started off by not having them, and then we decided that they were a good idea, and there's a reason for that. We didn't just do that for no fucking reason. Like, we chose to have those regulatory bodies there because we're like, oh, hey, maybe some experts should weigh in on this issue, and Congress can't do everything. So, but we seem to have forgotten that because, there's a whole other conversation to be said about the recent, not terribly recent, it's a couple months ago at this point, but the Texas Republicans released their plan if they won back Congress, and it is actually terrifying if you want to look at it. It's pretty scary. One of the things they want to do is abolish the EPA. Personally, I didn't bought. That's not correct grammar. Personally, I didn't bought anything new since a decade, and I am happy. I'm a happy person. Yeah, I think there's some things that are easier to buy used than others. I try to buy used whenever I can, but sometimes it's impossible. Like underwear, All you can ask people is to question their actions regularly and properly. You need to have milk in the coffee, or can you have oat milk? Do you need to buy a phone every 2 years, push it to 3? Do you need to go on 4 flights a year when you can cut it down to 2? Yeah, no, I think that's a very reasonable expectation that people just check themselves. I feel like people need to work on checking themselves when it comes to that kind of thing. People check themselves in many different aspects for many other things, but they don't do that necessarily for environmental purpose as much as they should. I'm going to reduce the size of this a little bit so that those chats are a little seeable. Let's do a little more. Anyways, yeah, let me know if you guys want to see the Texas Republican plan, because I've been sitting on that one for a while. I've been meaning to do a video on it, but I'm happy to just show it to you guys because it's nerve-wracking to parse through. Also, why is this website why is this whole thing a picture? What is this website? Oh, this is why it's important to hire young people for things like this, because who made this terrible website? Oh, sorry, I'm shitting on her, and that's just because of the cut regulations thing. Because that's a bit of a dog whistle for me. Okay, workforce development. New Mexico ranks last in public education. Really? That's unfortunate. which is why we must take dramatic steps to ensure the workforce of tomorrow is ready to take on the lead. From energy production to mining, our public education system should be training our students and producing skilled workers on day one. Okay, so she supports trade. I don't not support trade. That's trade schools are good. Yvette understands college isn't for everyone. We should offer students the opportunity to learn trades and skills to enter the workforce directly from high school. I agree with that. My question is, when she chooses which trade school to prioritize, which is she going to prioritize, fossil fuels or clean energy? You know, doesn't say here. But she is very focused on energy, which is interesting. Yvette will push for expanded access to high-speed internet for rural communities. That's good. Middle income tax cut. Cool. Pro-life. Pro-Second Amendment. Uphold the Constitution, even though the Constitution was made like 200 years ago. Not totally against the Constitution, but, you know. Religious liberty, and only if you're a Christian. Finish the wall, strengthen our military, support our veterans, expand the missions. The missions? Military, okay. People over politics, secure the border, work permits and immigration. I mean, I'll give it to her. There's a lot. There is a lot. American First Energy. President Trump has made American energy a priority. He's not president right now. Why are you using present tense? In Congress, Yvette will support the American First energy policies that have made our nation great. And then she shows a fracking device. So I think I know where that's going. Oh, here we go. Stop the Green New Deal. Here it is. Radicals in Congress are pushing the dangerous Green New Deal. Yvette strongly opposes this effort and isn't afraid to fight against it. We must harness our American energy and continue growing our energy-driven economy, prioritizing people over politics. Okay, great. What if, oh my gosh, I just got a Democratic text. That's hilarious. What if, hear me out, people are impacted by climate change, and that is impacted by fossil fuels, and the Green New Deal wants to get rid of fossil fuels. So by ignoring the Green New Deal, aren't you working against people and for politics? Because the fossil fuel industry relies heavily on political support through subsidies? Weird. So those are contradictory is what I'm hearing. Okay, good talk. Everything's bigger in Texas. In this case, the ecological fallout. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. Invest in roads. Yeah. Reduce regulations. Wait, you already said that. Okay, so we're double reducing regulations. Got it. Oh, here we go. We have to get government out of the way and ensure energy producers can continue to extract oil safely and efficiently. Game over. We know exactly what she's thinking. I mean, the Green New Deal thing was also an indicator, but there we go. That's what we think of when we think of energy. Did you get Oh yeah. And emails. Okay. Well, she wants to expand mental health care, and that will help as people slowly shrivel up underneath the weight of the climate crisis. So perfect. Okay, Yvette, not impressed. All right, let's look. What is this picture, by the way? This is not an appealing picture. Okay, let's go to Gabe. Okay, Gabe Vasquez for Congress. Woo. Oh, he has an issues thing. Should we go straight to the issues? Let's go straight to the issues. Oh, that's a nice smile. Okay, meet Gabe. What are your issues, Gabe? Did I already go straight to the issues? No, I don't think I ended up going straight to the issues. But okay, Gabe is a first generation American who grew up in the borderlands and saw his mother work hard every day to support his family. Cool. American dream. All right, issues. What are your issues, man? Okay, clean energy and climate change. Look at that. We have a basic responsibility to We have a basic responsibility to leave the planet better for our kids, but unchecked pollution from dirty and outdated energy sources is putting the health and future of our children at risk. 99% of scientists, NASA, and the Department of Defense all agree. That's what's crazy to me. The Department of Defense literally has continuously come out with, oh, climate change is the biggest national security threat facing us. And Republicans who supposedly care about the military have completely ignored that. All agree that climate change is a threat, and we're already seeing the impacts of it in the form of increasing severe weather, drought, and wildfires. Water scarcity and drought will become one of New Mexico's toughest issues to solve, and Gabe is up for the challenge. He'll work to encourage the transition to clean energy like wind and solar so we can not only dramatically reduce pollution that is disrupting our climate and making our families sick, but also create thousands of good paying jobs right now in southern New Mexico. We can also continue to grow our economy by electrifying our homes, cars, and businesses. New Mexico is home to some of the best research facilities in the nation and should be leading the effort in new energy technologies and drought adaptation strategies. Okay. So it's a little vague, but he likes clean energy, so that's good. But it is a little vague. But compared to the other person, I mean, obviously, the choice is pretty freaking obvious. And he also supports conserving more land, so that's good too. Gabe has spent much of his career making sure New Mexicans have access to public lands and will keep working to conserve lands, waters, and wildlife in Congress and fight any efforts to sell off our public lands to the highest bidder. Good. What did he do before this? I'm just curious. Oh, respecting tribal sovereignty. Hold on, let's look at that one too. Understanding and upholding tribal sovereignty is absolutely necessary in addition to respecting and honoring the government-to-government relations that exist between New Mexico's Native American communities and the federal government. New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District includes the sovereign communities of Laguna, Zuni, Acoma, and Isleta Pueblos. I was doing so good. I mean, I'm probably sounding super white, but I'm trying. As well as the Mescaleros and Fort Still Apache Navajo Nation and Piro Manso Tiwa. How did I do? Gabe will fight to ensure we invest in these communities and capitalize on opportunities to bring economic, healthcare, education, and infrastructure resources to all of New Mexico's Native American communities. Nice. Well, that's also good. Cool. I'm wondering what his background is, just because, yeah. Who is the Gabe? Because he said something before about conservation. So, did he do conservation stuff before? Okay, he's a businessman. Oh, okay. And then he also helped designate the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument. So that's cool. Okay, and then he was in city council. And has served as executive director of Las Coras Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Worked with public lands conservation and public advocate for promoting child welfare and family well-being on a federal level. Cool. Very interesting. Okay, well, I guess the last thing there is to check, and I don't know if he has anything to look at necessarily because he hasn't necessarily been in Congress or anything to have a voting record, but she does. So let's look at Yvette Herrell. Is that climate change? Let's see if there's anything else. she is okay with climate change. And so she's okay with climate change? What does that mean? Okay, here we go. Here's the scorecard I'm looking at. I was expecting it to count up or something, but no, it's 0. It's 0. That's not good, folks. That's not good at all. Okay, so you were just absent too. So that's Yvette. Whew, that's bad. Okay, so that's bad. So all right, I think we have a solid winner here for New Mexico. If you support climate action, you should definitely go with Vasquez. You just should. That's all I got. Okay, Nevada. We got Dina Titus and Robertson. What's his first name? Why do they only say the first name for one of them? Mark Robertson. Okay, here we go. So Dina, Miss Democrat Dina. I believe this is the right email website to look at here. I'm sorry, you've been saying things and I've been ignoring you. Okay. The world would be collapsing, but we have amazing self-help CBT skills to help us cope with it better. Everything is on fire, but let's put that in the worry box for now. Let's put a pin in it. Oh, she has. Okay, I'm sorry. I still can't. You'll have to hear in the mic.
I'm mad as hell.
About the rising cost of prescription drugs.
It's highway robbery.
Who's doing something about it?
I got your back.
In Congress, Dina Titus took on Big Oil for gouging us at the pump while they made record profits. And Dina lowered the cost of prescription drugs by passing historic legislation against the drug companies.
I got you.
Dina Titus is the fighter we need.
I'm Dina Titus, and I approve this message because I never back down from a tough fight.
But then you admitted that the fight's tough. I guess it is. You're on this list. Okay. All right. She's straight out saying, fuck you, fossil fuels. So, I respect that. Were you guys able to hear that? I don't know how well the volume went through. I'm sorry. I haven't figured that out yet. It's one of those things that it will get better when I have a PC. It just will. Okay. So let's go to... All right, but we got endorsements here, but where's your views? Do you have views? Okay, well that's a little unfortunate. I'm not seeing a issues page, so that's not good, Miss Dina. Okay, she's been endorsed by the National Defense Fund. That's good. Oh, she's also, we were going to look at the League of Conservation Voters, but she's been endorsed by them. So I'm thinking she's probably pretty good. We can still look at it though. Unfortunately, they keep cutting out. So that's annoying. The website is not well made. Just for another candidate. They have not entered the digital era very well. But it's okay. Sierra Club, also being endorsed by the Sierra Club. That's good. She's got a lot of endorsements. Holy crap. We might have to look at the endorsements for her other person because this is like... It just keeps going. She's like, fuck y'all. I don't need issues. I just have endorsements. Wow. It just keeps going. Okay, there we go. That's a lot of endorsements, but I wish she had an issues page. Like, where's the issues page? Okay, well, that's her. All right, and then she is up against Mark Robertson. I'm probably going to have to put Nevada next to his name because that's a pretty common name. Let's see if it just shows up, though. Oh, here it is. Cool. Good job. Good job being at the top. You are the top Mark Robertson. Okay, he has a position page, so in the way of website design, he is ahead of Dina in that. Does he also, is this just a give me money or is this a video? Oh, this is a video. Okay, here we go.
Washington liberals have taken the country to the brink of disaster. Retired Colonel Mark Robertson is running for Congress on a rescue mission. The radical left's mishandling of the economy is crushing family budgets. Mark Robertson will protect taxpayers and make gas and groceries affordable again. We need to stop Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi's reckless spending, driving up prices and costing you more. Send outsider Mark Robertson to Congress to end the madness.
This is Mark Robertson, and I approve this message.
Okay, I heard something in there about gas and oil, making gas cheaper. Okay, so how are you going to do that when OPEC is decreasing the demand? How exactly do you have control over that? Because fossil fuel companies already are sitting on leases that they could use to pump more oil and gas, but they're not. So giving them more access to those doesn't increase the supply, lowering the prices, because they wouldn't want that because they want more money. So how exactly do you plan on doing that? I'm just curious. I always wonder that when anyone says that, because I'm like, you think you have more power than you do when it comes to the oil and gas companies, because they don't give a shit about you. They will pay you money to be their talking head, and then they will do whatever the fuck they want with the power they get. Okay. Where's the term limits for Congress? Okay. That's interesting. He's against weed, guys. He's against weed. Also, I don't see him saying anything about any form of energy. That's weird for him to mention it and then not actually have a position on it. Am I missing something? Do you guys see it? I don't see it. Yeah, I'm not seeing any position actually on energy, which is weird. Oh, here's other stances. Okay, environment. Here we go. It's actually kind of rare to see an environment stance specifically. Okay, climate change is a reality. Okay, that's a good start. Climate change is a reality, and we can do something about it without limiting the freedom of American citizens. I completely agree. As stewards of this planet, all humankind have a responsibility to do our part to mitigate the effects of climate change, both natural and man-made. Okay. Since the founding of our country, Americans have risen to the challenge of the day. Visionary people have developed innovative solutions to the problems we face. Okay. We must not allow radical elements in and out of the government to dictate one-size solutions. Okay, I agree that different areas are going to benefit more from different forms of clean energy. So, sure, yeah. We must not allow these radicals to take away American freedoms and mandate the government regulations to discourage innovation and strangle our economy. Okay. I understand that climate change is not an American issue, but rather the entire world, and we must find solutions. The solutions must not create economic or financial burdens for Americans or American family. Southern Nevada is uniquely positioned to make significant contributions to improve and protect the environment. We ought to continue to lead the front. Okay, I'm still waiting for how. As your representative to Congress, I support an all of the above approach to energy. So that includes fossil fuels then, I'm guessing. I will vote against subsidies to clean technologies that burden American taxpayers. Wait. So you only want to allow subsidies for fossil fuels? How can you... The amount of mental gymnastics you have to do to write this is astonishing. What? Here you are talking about how important climate change is. Climate change is a huge threat. We have Americans need to be in charge of this threat, and it's an entire world issue, so we got to work together. And therefore, let's get rid of subsidies for the technologies that reduce climate change? What? I'm so confused. This is stupid. What is this? Seriously, what is this? Well, that was a roller coaster. And I don't see anything having to do with energy in particular. So, oh, here it is, energy. Okay, let's see if we have more, because that was a non-answer. We must reverse President Trump's that was a slip. We must reverse President Biden's misguided executive orders to shut down the Keystone Pipeline and restrictions on energy production. But experts on climate change have said we don't want to have any new fossil fuel projects. So if you believe in climate change and it being a really big issue, what do you think is causing climate change? I'm just curious. Dramatically higher prices at the pump are hurting American families. Okay, but that's not going to make it better, especially not in the short term. It's going to take several years before that even impacts it. And even still, it might not impact it much at all. Just 12 months ago, America was finally energy independent. No, we weren't. I don't know where they get that information from. We literally were pretty much the same as we are now. We no longer needed to send hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign countries to do... Then why do we care so much about Russia? We no longer need to send hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign countries which do not have our best interests at heart. True, but we were still. The American energy industry have created hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs. True, and half of those jobs come in the clean energy industry, the ones that you want to get rid of subsidies for. American innovation has allowed us to use multiple sources of energy, including oil, natural gas, clean coal. All right, you're done. Game over. Once you say clean coal, your arguments are immediately just are done. They're done, because that is a dichotomy. Clean and coal don't go together. They never have. They never will. There is no technology that will be able to take up the amount of carbon that coal creates to offset that. There just isn't. It doesn't exist. It won't exist in at least 100 years, and we don't have that time. So, yeah, there you go. I have family members who work in the energy industry. That could explain some things. I've seen firsthand how well-paying energy jobs allow my relatives to support their families. Do any of them work in the coal industry? Do any of them have black lung? I'm just curious. As a representative for Congress, I will support the current American energy industry along with innovation in renewable energy sources such as nuclear, geothermal, hydro, and solar. Interesting. He hates wind. He hates wind. That's really interesting. Okay. Well, that was disappointing, to say the least, because clean coal. Bottom line, clean coal. Okay, well, I guess I want to just finish, even though she was endorsed by them. I still want to see what her voting record is for clean energy projects for Miss Deena, because I don't think that we would see that for her running mate because he hasn't been in Congress yet. All right, here is her scorecard. It's really nice that the League of Conservation Voters, I keep wanting to say conservative because it's like the same root word, but I'm happy they made it so easy for us to be able to just look at the record. Okay, 96% lifetime score. That's pretty good. Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. That's why she's been endorsed. Okay, and the award goes to Miss Dina Titus for who would be the environmental vote. It's strange to see that these are on party lines. I'm so shocked. And it sucks because I feel like, people are going to be like, oh, you're clearly liberal, so whatever. First of all, I'm not liberal. And second of all, actually that's the first red flag you see is when you put like Biden and AOC in the same category and call them both liberal, then that just shows that you don't know what the differences between progressive and liberal means. You just want to categorize all your opponents into the same category, which is, I guess both sides do that, but still. Okay, let's go to Steve Chabot. Oh, I realize I have not been reading these things. Hold on. Okay, let me go back because New Mexico. Let's just read why this is like a tough race and stuff. The decennial redistricting process added Western Albuquerque to this rural district that is currently represented by GOP Rep. Yvette Herrell, making the seat more Democratic. Herrell previously served in the state house and is serving in her first term on Capitol Hill. A citizen of the Cherokee Nation, she is the first GOP Native American woman to serve in Congress. Wow, good for her. Herrell faces Democrat Gabe Vasquez, who previously worked for New Mexico's Senator Martin Henrich and served as the Las Cruces city councilor. Vasquez is a first-generation American who has emphasized his personal story growing up in both the U.S. and Mexico, a bio that fits well with this border district. Very interesting. Okay. And then in Nevada, the longest serving member of the Nevada congressional delegation seat has a tough road on this cycle. Democratic Representative Dina Titus's once safe seat was redrawn during redistricting. I'm seeing a trend here. The district now contains part of Las Vegas as well as Boulder City, and Henderson. It is more than 30% Hispanic or Latino. Okay, well, neither of those are Latino. These are both very, very white options. That's interesting. Titus was elected in 2012 and is the dean of Nevada's congressional delegation. She previously served as Democratic majority leader in the state Senate and worked as a college professor. Interesting. I wonder what she taught. She faces GOP challenger Mark Robertson, a financial planner who previously served in the military, including as a senior advisor in the office of the Secretary of Defense. Robertson announced opposition to any federal ban of abortion on his website. Of course he did. I will oppose the federal legislation on abortion. This issue should be left to the states and to the people, his campaign website says. Well, can you tell Rush Limbaugh that? Because he wants it to go straight back to the federal as a full ban. So the U.S. has a different definition for liberal to what we have in the UK. We have liberal. Well, it's still kind of liberal equals Democrat, but also there are liberals and then there's like progressive or leftists, and those are not the same thing at all, right? That's like slotting in neoliberalism with progressivism. It's not the same thing. And it just, yeah. The only thing I think is a bit weird, but also not, is how alienated the Green Party in the US is. Yeah. I think it's because there's no ranked choice voting. It's one or the other. If there was ranked choice voting, they wouldn't be so alienated. Like when I hear many people, when I hear, oh my God, I can't read or talk today. Like when I hear many people the left in the US talk about the environment, about fairness, equity, healthcare, racial justice, etc. The party should be aligning with. Yet instead they throw their weight behind the Democrats and then complain that they get ignored. Surely even at lower level elections they should and could get behind the Green candidate. You would think, but I think again, just like the way that our voting system works, where it's like a really focused on two-party system, there's like a lot of different reasons why a third party can't sneak itself in there. And while I do believe that in lower election cases, they should be able to get a little more of a stronghold, it's still very much an issue when you feel like you really just have to pick two options instead of more. And so I think there's two things behind that. There's the whole ranked choice voting part of it, which if they were able to pick like their first, second, and third best, then some of the smaller parties might be able to get a foothold in there. And then there's also cross-pollination, which is no longer allowed. It used to be that a candidate could represent two parties, like they could represent the Green Party and the Democrat Party. And I don't remember when, but that stopped being allowed. And I think that also really hurt smaller parties from being able to be more represented in different spaces. Greens have experienced capitalists attacking them, so they're basically they're badly thought of in voters' minds. That's definitely true too. And see, that is why the difference between progressivism and neoliberalism makes a difference, because the Democratic Party is still mostly neoliberal, and a lot of Green parties generally are more progressive, and so they're not exactly on the same side. I mean, I understand that people will say the electoral system is unfavorable, but you're also not going to change that without forcing their hand. It's true. The Democrats have zero incentive to support proportional representation, nor do Republicans, and that leads to the problem that we have. So your only chance of that kind of ranked choice voting is to throw votes to a third party, but that's not necessarily true. For example, Alaska's now ranked choice voting. I think there's another state that is also ranked choice voting as well. Maybe it's in New York. I can't remember, but there's another one that's also ranked choice voting. So it is slowly becoming more of a concept. The main concern / benefit is when, for example, Alaska elected its first Democrat for that. I think was it a House or Senate position? One of those. But it was the first time that they got a Democrat in that spot for like 40 years or something like that. And I believe that the other race that's ranked choice voting, unless it's one of the ones that I'm seeing here, in which case it hasn't happened yet. But if it did happen, it might lean more Democrat too. So it would be interesting to see if through ranked choice voting, Democrats realized, oh, we have a little more of an edge with this form of voting style. And then that's how they ended up supporting it. You know what I mean? Because I hate to say it, but throwing your votes towards a third party, unless there is a full organized effort to do so, it doesn't work, because most of the time they don't start campaigning until the last minute. And so they're just not in the minds of a lot of voters for an organized enough movement for that to make a big enough difference. And that's what's hard. So the reason why is because of lack of funding. So it's just a combination of things. You know, if you can never get voted in, then you're not going to get the vote or the donations. If you're not going to get the donations, then you're not going to get the organization. And it's just a bad cycle of why there's no third party, because the other two just have so much money and representation towards them that it's practically impossible to get a third party in there without changing the system in some way. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. It's frustrating and it's hard, because I would love to see a third party that's more progressive come in. But honestly, I kind of feel like if there's a third party, they're going to end up being more moderate, which sucks. They're going to end up being like libertarian or something, which is not great. And it sucks because I feel like a lot more people are more progressively minded than they want to give themselves credit for. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Yes. So for Nevada, definitely Dina Titus. Now let's look at Ohio. So in a year, proportional representation. Okay. Yes. Yeah, proportional representation is what it says in the name. It's proportional, which goes both ways. If there's 40% of a state that's ultra conservative, then they'll get 40% voice. That's usually silenced because they're not the majority. Yeah. Though I will also say that, conservatives are better at going to the polls than liberals and progressives. Actually, you know who's a really bad party at going to the polls? Environmentalists. Environmentalists are very bad at voting. There was a recent study on that, actually. I'm trying to remember where I got that information from. Maybe it was when I was tabling with the Citizens Climate Lobby. That's where I heard that. I need to look up where I heard that, but I know that I heard that very recently because my mom and I were both talking about it, and we're like, I need to emphasize that that's true, is that environmentalists are terrible at voting. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but we're really bad at voting for some reason. So that's an example of how, it doesn't even matter what the proportion of your district is. It matters more who's more riled up, Those are the ones that are going to get the representation. For example, in the UK, if we had PR as an electoral system for Westminster elections a decade ago, UKIP would have won swaths of votes. As it was, they were denied them because it was FPTP and they didn't get many seats, but they did manage to change the overton window and push an EU referendum, and the rest is history. I don't know what half of those acronyms mean. Sorry. Yeah, but bottom line, some countries have better systems that allow different parties to exist than others. Like Australia is a good example of the Green Party and the Teal Party, which I believe is kind of like independents that are environmentally motivated. They actually did really well in the last election. And part of that was they have a different system. They have a system that allows for more party representation of different parties. So they had like 4 different parties that all got seats in their government, and that made a huge difference. So I think they have ranked choice. I'm pretty sure that they have ranked choice, but I would have to look it up. Yeah. But start by just getting the environmentalists out there. Sorry. Because apparently we suck at voting. So that's good. Probably because we're just so disenfranchised. Okay. Right. Okay. In a year when Democrats are playing defense in so many ways, they have an opportunity to capture a seat in Ohio that Republicans have held for decades. GOP Representative Steve Chabot has represented this Southwest Ohio district for more than a quarter of a century since his election in 1944, even acting as a House impeachment manager during the impeachment trial of former President Bill Clinton. Interesting. But the previous safe Republican seat was redrawn. His new district covers an area Biden won during redistricting by almost 9 points. That gives Democrats a chance to unseat Chabot. The Democratic candidate in the race in Cincinnati City Council, Greg Landsman, a former public school teacher. Chabot has easily fended off Democratic challengers in recent years, but with the new boundaries, the nonpartisan Cook Political Report rates the race as a toss-up. Interesting. There's probably a few reasons why environmentalists are low voters than normal. I don't know if it's true, but if it was, my hypothesis would be that it's because they're younger, more liberal, and significantly more leaning towards less government than traditional voters. I don't know if they're leaning more less government. I don't think they're leaning more less government. That's an interesting assumption. I think, with things like the Green New Deal being a concept, that's kind of more government. I'm going to look at it. Okay, we're going to look at it. Let's do it. How should I look at it? Are environmentalists good at voting? From yesterday by earthday.org. Climate change is the most important humanitarian crisis of our lifetime, so why aren't we showing up to the polls for it? Every generation, environmental issues have steadily risen to the top priority for young voters. Finally, they have reached a fever pitch with the majority of young people 18 to 29 ranking climate change in their top 3 voting issues in the last presidential election. However, despite this surge of political interest, environmentalists are routinely abstaining from participating in major elections. A recent report by the Environmental Voters Project, over 8 million environmentalists didn't vote in the 2020 presidential election. Additionally, over 12 million skipped the 2018 midterms, and over 13 million already registered voters who deeply care about the environment are currently unlikely to vote in the 2022 midterm elections. It's clear that a massive community of environmentalists, American citizens, have been discouraged from voting and taking political action to address climate change, and there doesn't seem to be any clear cause of why. It may be one of the main reasons citizens didn't vote in general: having little trust in the government, not feeling represented, or simply not keeping up with politics. But voting is essential, and each one of us nationwide and across the world is a stakeholder in our environment and its well-being. True. I would only assume they'd be more in the camp of libertarian anarchism because of the association of big state with big globalized consumption and big globalized industry. But then they're definitely not a monolith. Maybe a better umbrella term would be government apathetic rather than actively anti-government. Yeah, I think that they are frustrated, I guess they being me, that we are frustrated with the way the current government works. But the thing is also, we also hate corporations too, right? And I feel like, if you had to choose who's the bigger enemy, it depends. If you're more in the libertarian camp, you would say, I rather have less government intervention and believe that corporations are able to behave themselves without regulation. And then there's more of the democratic socialist perspective, I guess, that would think that government should have more regulations involved, carbon tax, focusing on different like power plant cleanup methods and stuff like that. Green New Deal sort of things. And as a result, that would tamp down the control of corporations. The problem is that we recognize that corporations buy out the government. And I think that's why a lot of climate folk aren't voting, is because we recognize that fact, that whichever way you would prefer it, corporations have purchased the United States government. So it's like, okay, so even if the government was more in charge, would they be in our best interest, or would they just continue to be a bitch to corporations? I don't know. Maybe that's why we're not voting, because we're like, what the fuck is the point? Which is a very fair thing. But also, that's why we're going through these races, because we can see that there are better choices and worse choices. And you just have to kind of make a difference where you can, But yeah, so I do remember correctly. I had a decent memory on this, that environmentalists are shit voters. So that's, 13 million already registered voters who care deeply about the environment are currently unlikely to vote in the 2022 midterm elections. That is just so disheartening. More than 2018 midterms. That is just so disheartening, So that's who I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to figure out how to get these people. And I'm really hoping that my impact will be larger in time for the presidential election in 2024. So that's the other goal. I would like to interview candidates in tough races in 2024 to encourage more climate related voting. That would be a fun goal. Yeah. It's an interesting offshoot from the non-voting question, which I've looked at before. Generally speaking, most non-voters are a combination of people that are entirely disinterested or entirely apathetic. A common misconception is that they're locked out of participation, which isn't really the case. Most non-voters rarely cite barriers for it as a reason, at least in the US. But apathy and lack of faith that voting will change anything is a big part of it. Oh yeah. I have trouble getting my friends to vote. To be honest, like I have at least 3 friends that didn't vote in the last 2 elections. So, And that opens up an even more complicated question of, are they correct? And it's one of those things that if you believe that there's no way you can make a change, then what is all this fucking for? Like, even if you, in the back of your mind's eye, you actually think that's true, it's not productive to live your life thinking that way, even if it is true that all I'm doing doesn't make any shit of a difference. That's not productive for me. That's not going to give myself any chance of it actually being the case that I can make a difference. I rather lean on the line of believing that I can make a difference in case I can, instead of just throwing up my hat and never even giving myself a chance to make a difference. You know what I mean? I feel the issue is that climate voters are in states that are already climate conscious, so they have no climate influence to impact their vote. I disagree with that. I don't think that's true. And hi, welcome here, Jokesta. I disagree with that, though. I think that a lot more people care about the environment in Midwestern and historically red states than people give credit for. You know what's fascinating, actually? So here, let me go. I'm sure my rate is absolutely horrid. I'm so sorry. But if I'm talking in pictures and I look better when I'm in the smaller screen, which I've noticed sometimes happens, then I'll go back to the smaller screen. But can I tell you guys a story? I had a really weird interaction the other day. This was in California, to be fair, which has more conservatives than we want to give credit to, just like the rest of, blue states. And that's the same thing with, red states. They have more progressive people than they want to give credit to, right? But I was visiting my friend. Her parents were visiting from New York, and so they were staying at a hotel, and the hotel had a pool. So we were hanging out in the pool, and by the pool I mean the hot tub, because I'm not going in a pool at like 9 p.m. It's cold, even in California. And so we were staying in the jacuzzi, and there were these 2 guys who were like in their 40s, and they were there for a business trip, and they came over and sat with us. And And we weren't really talking until my friend was worried that this guy was drowning. He wasn't. He just put his head in the water. But she was like, what is happening? And then we got in a conversation with them. And one of them noticed that we were talking about climate change because my friend is also a huge climate focused person. And so we were talking about different elements of climate change because, of course, that's what we were talking about in a hot tub. And he asked my perspective on electric vehicles. And I said my usual spiel, which is, oh, well, they're a big benefit for a country like the US that has a very low likelihood of moving towards public transit in walkable cities. But if it did move to public transit in walkable cities, I'd throw my EV into the ocean. The usual. And turns out he was anti-vax and anti-climate change, so it would appear. And he initially came out with the usual lines of misinformation. Like he thought that solar panels emit gas and that lithium from batteries entered the water. Things like that. Great, very informed things like that. And that he didn't believe in any form of clean energy would work. He thought they were all bullshit, that kind of thing, right? So we were having those conversations, and normally I frankly wouldn't even engage when I find out they're anti-vax because I'm like, okay, so we're on two different fields of reality. So what's the point of talking to them, right? But we continued to talk. And what's interesting is through the conversation, which was probably about a half an hour long, we went from him saying that humans don't cause climate change, volcanoes do, to, oh, well, the earth was already moving in the direction of warming, but but humans are accelerating the process, to, yes, fossil fuels are the main cause of climate change. We went there in the span of a half an hour. That's impressive. So it's amazing to me how really subconsciously a lot of people do agree that we need to do something about it and that we need to move fast on it. Like he also agreed we need to move fast on it. And I finished up the conversation with him just being like, hey, I think you actually think the world is even worse off than it actually is because you think that the solutions that we have don't work. So I want to encourage you to relook at those solutions. And while they do have their own problems for sure, see how they actually work, because I think you actually think things are worse than they actually are, which was weird to tell someone because usually I have to tell people things are worse than they actually are, right? But yeah, so that was an example of someone that from the get-go, you're like, there's absolutely no way that they actually believe in climate change or that they care about it. But through the conversation, prioritizing the topic of pollution, he did admit that it was a problem. So I think that is definitely the case for a lot of people that have for a long time been fueling themselves up with misinformation. Even no matter how much you fuel up with misinformation, there's still a little inkling in the back of their brains that they know that this is a big problem. So that's my story. I personally wrestle with the question of voting quite a bit. Mostly, I actually tend not to vote unless a specific candidate stands out very closely aligned to me or in referendums. The only time I've actually voted post leaving school is for Jeremy Corbyn. But I know my situation is a bit different, and the way I approach politics is different from how most people do, seeing as a subject of research rather than one of active participation and manipulation. Yeah, I'm personally of the opinion that you should always vote, because I think even if you have shit options that, at least in the US, like we've found that it actually can get worse. So I think you should always vote. That's my thought on that. But anyways, yeah, that was my thought process. I feel like I can already tell that my frame rate's horrible, and I'm really sorry about that. Thank you for y'all sticking with me, even though it's not fun to necessarily watch. But hopefully your listening experience is still good if I don't trip on my words too much. But anyways, so there's though the issue with environmentalists not voting, which is something we need to really work on. And maybe it actually comes from a little bit of what you're saying, James, which is you only vote when there are people that have a lot of issues closely aligned with you, because if every environmental voter did that, they might be in, for example, Kern County, California, where they have 2 shit options. And it's like, okay, but if you still didn't vote, and in that case, the Republican won, then you made it a lot easier for the, for Congress to flip. Even if those people weren't aligned with you, looking at the bigger picture of which party you want to be in charge makes a difference, So voting is all statistics. If you don't vote, nobody's catering to you. Exactly. Yeah, that's my opinion on that too. I think that people that don't vote, that try to grandstand, then they're choosing to be silent and not have representation, and that just personally does not make sense to me. Okay, let's go back to the candidate races. Woohoo! All right, so we are now looking at Ohio. So we're starting with Steve Chabot. I don't know how his name is actually pronounced. Maybe is that French? Is it Chabot? I don't know. Okay. Re-elect Steve Chabot. Chatbot. Yeah. He's Chatbot. Okay, he has an issues page, so check on that. Good job. Okay, revitalizing our economy. Healthcare. Energy. Here we go. Let's look at energy. Thank you for your organization. You have one of the better websites, Chatbot. I will say, Chatbot has a good website. It contorts to the size of my screen or whatever, and it actually is well organized. So already, good job. And he shows solar and wind, so that's also a good sign too. Okay. America must move towards energy independence in a manner that doesn't kill or threaten the environment or kill job creation. Okay, I agree. I believe we need to consider all available options, including wind, solar, bionuclear, and drilling. Right here, you were so close. But I disagree with you on 2 of those points. Well, actually, 1.5. It depends on what you mean by bio. Weird to just say bio. Are you referring to biofuel? It must be. As part of the effort, I think we need to increase domestic oil production. Oh, you were doing so well for such a short period of time. That's why I have been a strong proponent for the Keystone XL pipeline that will bring thousands. It's dead. The company in charge of the Keystone XL pipeline has said it's dead. Let it die. Like, they said it won't come back. So why are we still talking about it? I have been a strong proponent for the Keystone XL pipeline that will bring thousands of barrels of oil to the U.S. each day, not to mention creating thousands of American jobs, some of which will be created right here in Cincinnati or our Simons plant. Okay, but clean energy, you had this. Is this greenwashing? Did you greenwash your energy page with this picture? It looks like it. To help lower gas at the pumps, I have introduced legislation to stop price gouging and anti-competitive behavior by OPEC nations. Well, that's actually good. I'm glad that you introduced that legislation. When we first introduced this legislation more than a decade ago, gas prices were climbing towards $3 a gallon. Oh, and that's nothing. And that would eventually peak to over $4 a gallon by 2008. Well, you're in Ohio, not in California. In California, it's over $6.50 right now. In recent years, we have done a good job reducing our dependence on foreign sources of oil by increasing domestic production. Yeah, until actually, I believe it was Obama made it easier for us to focus on exporting our production instead of keeping it domestically, which is why even if you increase the domestic production, it won't actually go into the U.S. pockets. Subsequently, we And Biden has actually tried to make the countries focus more domestically, but they have actually default rejected that. So that happened recently. Consequently, we have had much lower gas prices. However, we are still subject to fluctuations in the global market. The lower prices have angered oil cartels around the world, and now OPEC is ramping up its oil gouging efforts once again. But did you write this recently? Because that's pretty recent news, actually. My legislation would significantly help fight price gouging by subjecting OPEC nations to antitrust laws and prohibiting them from unilaterally withholding supply with the intent of creating shortages and raising prices. I support that, to be fair. We managed to pass this important legislation in the House a few years back, but now we must finish the job and get this bipartisan legislation to President Trump's desk for his signature. Okay. One problem, he's not president. He's not president, chat box. Why are you acting like he's still president? Are you waiting until 2024 and then hoping that this guy is going to be president again, even though he has at least 3 lawsuits going on right now? Okay, for sure. So what I'm getting from this is that picture is greenwashing because you talked about clean energy once and very briefly. And while I do actually really support your method, your moves away from or moves to attack the oil and gas industry, I don't support your moves in increasing increasing the demand or increasing the supply in the US, because unless you change the laws that make it so that they are allowed to go anywhere and to put their gas and oil anywhere and sell it anywhere for their benefit, then that's not going to help much. So, it's interesting. I don't hate this position. I don't hate this position, but it is greenwashing to put this in the picture, like to make that be your picture, because you don't talk about clean energy at all. And you do think there needs to be more drilling, which there doesn't. So, yeah. Okay, looking at the data here, I have found it seems that state-by-state issues vary. There's only 10 states in the one I've got here, but it doesn't seem to follow any clear pattern. Some states near the coast are higher than those in central and southern, but yeah, it seems to be significantly more important than not important in every state. Are you talking about climate change, like importance? Yeah, most people care about it. I mean, it is the lowest right now out of Republicans. I think only 24% care, but majority of both Democrats and independents care. Lol, I'm at 2.9. That's nuts. Depending on who you ask, he is. Wait. Yeah. Wait, 2.9? What are you referring to? I'm sorry. But there's very obviously partisan distinction, between Democrats and Republicans when it comes to environmental policy. And there's, of course, a massive generational cascade effect when it comes to climate change, too, which is present in both sides. Yes. So more young Republicans care about climate change than old Republicans. And I think that also has to do with who's watching Fox News. U.S. oil has not got all the elements in it that are needed in U.S. refineries, so the U.S. has to import lighter oil. Yeah, that's true. Also, our oil is very heavy to mix with its own. Excess must be exported. That's interesting. Oh, the gas is 2.9 where you lucky bitch. It's literally 6.25 here at least, I think. Which is fine for me because I work from home, but sucks for everybody else. Also, I don't have an electric car, so I do have to pay for gas because I've had my car since I was 16. So it's been 9 years. So I've had my car for 9 years, 2008. I'm just waiting to be able to afford a electric vehicle and waiting for the EV Buzz to come out. The VW Buzz. I want that hippie van so bad. But okay, so besides the little casual disillusionment that President Trump is still the president and this is complete greenwashing, I don't necessarily hate his perspective when it comes to subjecting OPEC nations to antitrust laws, though I also think that our oil and gas industry should also be subject to antitrust laws. And also, like, yeah, I don't want them to drill more though. So I guess those are my thoughts. So he talks a lot about Keystone. Keystone died, my dude. It died like a year ago. Based on data from 2019, more than half of young Republicans felt the government wasn't doing enough to the on the environment, and women were also way more willing to say not enough was being done. Yeah. No, in general, women care more about these issues than guys do, honestly, because we're more impacted. The climate crisis impacts women and girls at a higher rate. And also the biggest group that cares about climate change are Black voters. Black voters have by far the highest percentage of interest in tackling climate change, followed by Hispanic voters. So shockingly, not shockingly at all, marginalized groups care the most about this issue because it impacts them the most. And so white evangelical, or I guess, okay, here we go. Cis white evangelical older conservative men don't give a shit about the environment. If you put all of those things together, they are by far the group that cares the absolute least about the environment. So, yeah. Goodness. Yeah. Keystone would have done nothing for gas prices in the US. It's true. It's true. Yes, it all would have gotten exported. Literally, it wouldn't have made very many jobs at all. Most of the jobs would have been temporary from building. And on top of that, it wouldn't have changed the gas prices. So whenever you hear anyone saying, bring back Keystone, we loved Keystone, we tried for Keystone, they're delusional. So, yeah. So that's Steve. Let's look at maybe his climate change record if he's got one. Oh, he's in climateofdenial.org. That's hopeful. Yeah, pollution risk. See, that's the thing also is you have a lot of conservatives who don't necessarily say they'll care about the climate change issue because climate change is a buzzword that they absolutely hate, right? But they'll say they care about pollution, and fossil fuels equal pollution. So it seems like even if you didn't think climate change was an issue, you would want to switch away. But they also believe that clean energy pollutes the world just as much as fossil fuels does. In which case, then you do have to kind of go, okay, if you believe that's a 1-to-1 ratio, then you have to put then climate change on there as well. And that tips the balance even more if you did think that that was a 1-to-1 ratio with pollution, which it's not. But if that's their argument, that's where climate change can come in and tip the balance. You know what I mean? Okay, well, he supports tribal management of bison. And he supported removing Confederate statues from the U.S. Capitol. That's good. I'm not sure how that's an environmental... Oh, I guess it's justice. So I see that. And he supported increasing awareness and reporting of hate crimes. He also supported certifying Arizona's electorate votes, basically saying, yes, Biden did win, which is ironic from his statement then, saying that he didn't. And then also phasing out harmful fishing gear. That's good. And removing Confederate statues from the U.S. Capitol again. Wait, that happened twice? Okay, so nothing very explicitly environmentally related besides supporting bison. He does not support any renewable energy. So I guess that kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Yeah, kind of speaks for itself. So that is Steve. Let's look now at Landsman. That must be Steve in the picture. Yeah, that's Steve. All right, Landsman. Where's your first name, Landsman? I can't remember what it was. Greg. Okay, Greg. What do you think about these issues? I feel like I'm moderating a debate, but just like on the internet. Oh, they have a debate. They're facing off in a debate. That's interesting. I wonder if they'll talk about climate change. Probably not, because it's Ohio. Do you have a Congress page? You have a Facebook page? Oh, it's right here. I missed it. A Difficult Truth should be in here right now because I'm about to once again mention a book that I've mentioned to him about 100 times at this point. Strangers on Their Own Land can help explain a lot of the complicated relationships that Republicans and their voters have with the environment. Poor white people in Louisiana who have seen their homes and communities destroyed by big fossil fuels, yet are ever drawn to the Republican Party anyways, like a strange kind of Stockholm syndrome, trapped by their own ideological contradictions. That's interesting. I'll add it to my list of books. Let's see here. By the way, here's my list of books. I got a lot of books to read. Oh man. But this will be on the list. Okay. It's called Strangers. That is very interesting. In Their Own Land. Yeah, because that honestly, that's a huge problem and it doesn't really make sense to me, but so that would be good to like look at. Hey, Monostradamus. Sup. I think I saw you on ADT yesterday. ADT still hasn't read Desert despite telling me he would like a year and a half ago. Okay, we're busy, guys. We're busy. We should read more for sure, but we're busy. I can send you a video of the author talking about it. She gives a decent breakdown, although I still definitely say try to read it. It's fantastic. Yeah, you definitely can and should send me the interview. Maybe it'll just get me more excited to read it, But yeah, I'm sorry. I can't speak totally for Carlos, but like, also welcome to the chat. I'm surprised this is your first time with me, but welcome. Give me a little follow if you haven't done so already. And yeah. Cap, I have CCTV on him at all times. He's my little peony. Aw, Carlos. Well, it's good. You gotta keep tabs on him. You gotta keep him in the straight and narrow. It's very important. It's good. You keep him on the straight and narrow, and then he keeps me on the straight and narrow. Because, yeah. he's helped me a lot with the Twitch streams and stuff. And I'm sure, when I get a PC and I figure out how to do shit better, then I'm going to have him on this stream. For sure. We smoking that snowpack. Yes, I saw you say that. I love seeing your guys' commentary to my videos. I greatly appreciate it. Cause I think it's really interesting to hear. And also, like, I don't remember who sent the link in, but I'm definitely going to cover the Mississippi low water level because I did see that in there and I wasn't aware of that one before. So I'm definitely covering that. I'm going to be so late in today's episode. Today's video is going to be maybe Saturday. I'm trying really hard to get my schedule straight for that, but I'm still working on it. Oh, for real, I just got a new PC and the difference is night and day. Yep. Carlos got me. Him and my friend Justin, they got me. I'm going to get a PC, I promise. I will do it. As soon as I start figuring out health insurance. I'll start with health insurance and then I'll get a PC, okay? Not even super high spec, but compared to previous ones, options are huge. I mean, compared to a Mac, I'm sure it's fan-frickin-tastic, right? Yeah. I don't have a timeline yet for when I'm getting a PC, but I will get a PC soon, I promise, because of shit like this. Also, none of y'all told me how my rate frame is at this point. Played yourself? Yeah, I always do. It's fine. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and look at Greg. How's Greg? The issues. Greg has an issues page. Check for issues page. The issues. Okay, we could look in jobs and economy or infrastructure. Those both. Oh, environment. Okay. He's got a lot of issues. He doesn't have energy in there, surprisingly, but we'll go ahead and look at environment. Greg is committed to making sure the world we pass down to our children, to his children and ours, is one that is sustainable, safe, and equitable. On City Council, Greg pushed to strengthen the Green Cincinnati Plan, a historic environmental justice ordinance that placed Cincinnati at the forefront of the environmental policy movement. He also supported the largest municipality-led solar project in America. I think I remember hearing about that. That's pretty cool. Greg is very proud to be endorsed by the League of Conservation Voters. Oh, hey, we just saw the voting record from the other guy through the League of Conservation Voters. So good on Greg. In Congress, he'll fight to protect access to clean air and water and hold polluters accountable for damages that disproportionately impact our already marginalized communities. Our future and the future of our children depend on it. Okay, it's kind of a vague descriptor. I didn't get very many opinions on clean energy necessarily or on different moves he would make, but he does have a bit of a track record to show that this is a priority for him, so that's good. Alaska crab season. It's scary right now. He's got a lot of issues. 'Cause I got issues. You got them too. Give them all to me. Yep. Okay, let's look at infrastructure. See if there's anything in there that has to do with climate change related stuff. Let's see. Whether it would be crossing the Western Hills viaduct on the way to work or heading down the Brenton Spence Bridge. Infrastructure makes a huge difference in the connectivity of the region. Roads and bridges across the United States are crumbling, and nowhere is that more visible than here at home. For too long, Washington refused to act, and that's why Greg helped shepherd the largest investment in repairing roads and bridges ever in Hamilton County, including finally securing the funding to repair the Western Hills Viaduct. Greater Cincinnati is living in crisis as hundreds of thousands of people drive across crumbling Brent Spence Bridge every day. Replacing this bridge is long overdue. The bipartisan infrastructure bill leverages private sector investments to save all of us time and money in car damages, gas fill-ups, shorter commutes, and disaster prevention. This investment will not only improve traffic and infrastructure, but it will also bring more good-paying jobs to the region. In Congress, Greg will support continued investments in projects to improve crumbling roads and bridges, as well as the expansion of digital infrastructure to ensure access to broadband everywhere. I'll tell you, broadband, that's a bipartisan issue, 100%. Everybody cares about broadband. It's amazing. Republicans and Democrats both hugely support broadband access. I don't know how that's something that has not gone past through Congress, because that's as important as water and food nowadays, to have access to the internet. Well, that had nothing to do with the environment, but it was basically an endorsement of the bipartisan infrastructure bill, so that's good. Okay, well, yeah, not too much information on this guy. but the stuff that we do know is good. And at least he doesn't greenwash his own page. So he supports unions. Yeah, making it harder for employers to bust unions. So that's good. He supports unions. Yeah. Okay, so I guess, the options, both of the options are kind of just good. I guess, though, the League of Conservation Voters endorsement definitely brings Landsman over the edge to gain victory for the Beckosphere opinion of that race. So there you go. Okay, how many more do we have? We have Texas, we have Virginia. Okay, we have 2 more. We got this. 2 more. Okay, let's go to Texas now, where we have Henry Cuellar versus Garcia. Okay. Representative Henry Cuellar is one of the surviving anti-abortion Democrats, and he barely survived a primary challenge. In Texas? Wow. Cuellar is a conservative Democrat who has served since 2004, but legal troubles and a strong GOP candidate makes this a competitive race. Conservative Democrat, boy. Did you get silenced? I'm really confused. Are you not? I don't know what that symbol means. What are you doing? Listening only. Oh, well, that's fine. I'm sure my video's shit anyways. I'm not offended by that. But did you know that I could see that? I did not know I could see that, but now I know. Now that's a badge you can choose. Oh, interesting. Oh, and you just, okay, you're fancy. I don't know what I'm doing, okay? That's interesting. Okay. Cuellar weakened by a FBI investigation earlier this year. You're enjoying yourself a little too much, Mono. Faced a strong primary challenge of immigration attorney Jessica Cisneros. Oh, I remember that. She was good. It was the second time the two candidates have faced off, and Cuellar narrowly defeated Cisneros by less than 300 votes. Wow. This is why voting matters, folks, because less than 300, holy crap. He faces Casey Garcia in the general election for this seat representing Laredo border district that is more than 70% Hispanic or Latino. Garcia most recently worked for Texas Senator Ted Cruz and was appointed by Trump to serve as the commissioner for the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's see what Henry Cuellar thinks of climate change. I'm not holding my hopes up if he's considered a conservative Democrat. On January 19th, 2022, the FBI raided Cuellar Laredo residence and campaign office and removed several items, including cases and at least one computer, as part of a federal probe related to Operation. Oh, shit. Okay, well, I don't necessarily want him to stay in office then either. Boy, this is going to be a fun one. Wow. A country that has been criticized for its cavalier diplomacy. Yeah. On January 21, 2022, a federal grand jury issued subpoenas for records related to Cuellar, his wife, and at least one campaign staffer concerning anything of value that they may have been offered by certain business leaders or foreign officials, and any work, act, favor, or service that may have provided at the behest of certain foreign government officials, businesses, and others. Shady shit to do with sorry, I can't pronounce it well, but Azerbaijan is a bad sign. Yeah, that's a really fucking bad sign. Okay. Thank you for that intro. I appreciate that. Ooh, he is spicy. Okay, well, let's see what his climate policies are. Oh my gosh. Now that's a guy that has issues, if you know what I mean. Oh man. Okay, is your little thing gonna work so that I can't, it's not clicking. Okay, well, that's not helpful. Yeah, is relatively oil rich in the place where some places are sworn off Russian oil chooses to get it because they had cleaner hands. Yeah, it's a mess. That whole situation is a freaking mess, which is why him having anything to do with that situation makes him a freaking mess. I don't know how to access things on his website because I can't click on the bar where I'm guessing the issues would be located. So that's not helpful. I know, this website's driving me crazy. I'm trying to reload it and stuff, but it's not. I mean, I'm going to just try to enlarge it, I guess. See if, okay, got the story. Maybe we don't even have issues. Oh, we don't even have an issues section. That's awesome. Okay, so that's what we get, is we don't even have an issues section. So that's why there was really nothing to see here, I guess. Any info? I guess we'll look at his achievements, see if any of them are environmentally related. Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, I guess the house website, I haven't really been looking at the issues on those websites just because I'm trying to make it even based on whether or not people have been in office or not. But I mean, if most of his issues are on here, then that's great. Okay. We have an energy and environment section. Thank you for helping me out with that, Mono. Congressman Seller supported domestic energy as a means to supporting U.S. energy and economic independence. By balancing our energy needs with the availability of domestic resources, we can help minimize global environmental impact and maximize American self-sufficiency. Congressman Seller believes the U.S. has numerous domestic energy resources that can be better utilized. And why do you have to check up software updates right now, computer? Not appropriate. And Congress must continue making investments in all forms of domestic energy production, including oil, gas, wind, solar, and other alternative energy fuels. So he is one of those all energy solutions kind of guy, which is great. This will facilitate sustained economic growth in Texas and the rest of the country. So he is, I believe, what do they call those? He's a dino. Yeah, he shouldn't make it so difficult on his own site. Like, that's not very encouraging, but maybe people just, want those lawn signs. They don't really care about the issues. No, I don't think he is. Yeah. Yeah, but that's not good enough yet. No. We must continue to drill. Drilling's fun. The 28th Congressional District of Texas is both the 6th largest oil producing and 4th largest natural gas producing district in the state. This includes a large portion of the Eagle Ford Shale reserves, one of the most productive natural gas fields in the country. In order to support this production, last year, Congressman Seller helped secure $13 million in federal funding towards the Corpus Christi Ship Channel Improvements Project. SHIP is a U.S. ACE project to expand the port's shipping channels, allowing vessels to navigate navigate the channel safely, meeting surging global demand for U.S. produced oil and natural gas. Oh, so he also supports it being exported out more too. So that's going to sound really good to people that wanted to stay domestically. The port of Corpus Christi is the largest exporting port of U.S. produced crude oil and a major export hub for U.S. energy products. Okay, brother, it's back in the pocket of fossil fuel corpos. Yep, there we go. That's basically what's been said here. We're not surprised. We're just disappointed. Okay, so that was the current guy. Let's see if we can get his rating on League of Conservation Voters. So all we have to do is type in a little the little climate change thing, if it will let me. Okay, there we go. Okay, and hopefully even misspelled, it will show up. Okay, let's see. Okay, maybe not misspelled. Aha! All right, let's look at his scorecard, folks. Anyone want to guess what percentage he'll get? I'm going to guess 0. Actually, I'll be generous. I'm going to guess 17% like the last guy. Oh, do you have a fun tweet for me? Oh, goody. I'm excited. Let me look at this first. Oh! Okay, I'm actually very pleasantly surprised. Shockingly. Wow. Okay, he does not support corporate climate risk disclosure requirements. So he's still in the pocket of corporations for sure. And protecting the rights of workers to organize. He also is anti-union. But I'm very pleasantly surprised. Very pleasantly surprised. All right, let's see this tweet. Is that going to further disappoint me? Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Yeah, actually, I should probably look where it was less popular for him to vote. But even still, like that percentage, like 50% is better than I thought. Oh, here we go. Thanks. Oh, goody. We urge POTUS to reject any well-intentioned but misguided calls to curtail American crude oil and/or petroleum exports in relation to the high gasoline and diesel prices currently seen at the pump. Ooh. Oh, yeah. This is good shit. June. Not you, too. Yeah, there you go. Fact-checking Biden's claim that there was 9,000 unused oil drilling permits. Don't be a parrot. Have some original thoughts and solutions. The U.S. has more than 24 million acres under lease of oil and gas companies onshore, close to half that's not producing. Thank you. Thank you, Flibbity Gibbets. Flibbity Gibbets can run for Congress. Flibbity Gibbets, are you located in the same district as Collier? Would you be interested in being a write-in? just have a whole campaign of everybody write in Flibbity Gibbets. Oh man, I'm just gonna give him a little heart for that one. Good job, Flibbity Gibbets. Okay. Not especially egregious, but it's clear that he doesn't actually want a reduction in crude oil. No, it doesn't seem like he's interested in that. But Flibbity Gibbets made my day. Okay, well, though, again, he has a better scorecard than I expected. 50% lifetime, honestly, it's better than I expected for having his, having fossil fuel companies finger up his ass. So, there's something there. Now let's look at Garcia. Okay. What is Garcia's first name? Garcia is Casey. Casey or Cassie? Maybe Cassie? Cassie Garcia? What do you think Cassie's short for? Maybe... I don't know. What's a guy name that has Cass in it? I mean, I guess Cassidy could be a guy's name. Caspian? Maybe Caspian. Oh, this is not even... Are you going to load? What is happening right now? Okay. Safari. What you doing? Yeah, that might also be a red flag. I'm using Safari. I'm just doing everything wrong. Castro. Thank you. Castro. That's a low-hanging fruit. I should have figured that one. There we go. Okay. Wait, is Cassie a woman? Okay, it might be Cassandra. It might be Cassandra, guys. I thought it was a dude. That's really funny. It's definitely Cassiopeia, guys. It's definitely Cassiopeia. Or Chrysanthemum. Cass are your mom. Thanks, Hannah. Welcome to the chat. Okay. What are your opinions, Miss Cassie? Would it be in the About page? Not really. But it is Cassandra. Ironically, only with one S, even though Cassie has two S's. That's interesting. Cassandra Garcia most recently served as U.S. Senator Ted Cruz's Deputy State Director and was appointed by President Donald J. Trump in January of 2020 to serve as commissioner for... July 2020, to serve as commissioner for the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. Prior to joining Senator Cruz's office in 2013, Cassie served as the regional field representative for Texas Commissioner of Agriculture, serving as a liaison to agriculture, business, and economic development organizations at local, state, and federal levels of government. She received a bachelor's degree in communications and a master's in public administration from the University of Texas, Pan American, now known as the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Cool. Cassie is a native in Edinburgh, Texas. Okay. Cool. We have a picture of the district, but do we have her issues? Mm-hmm. We don't have issues. We have no issues. What are your issues? We don't have... Okay. That's exhausting. We have no issues. So... Good. I guess let's look just her and climate change. See what comes up. But, you know, she's friends with Ted Cruz. So there's that. Oh, well, this is interesting. E&E News has that. I'm kind of glad I didn't see it, though, because 32 races would be way too many for me to look at. I don't know. You know, I don't see anything that has to do with climate change. Maybe we'll do just energy. I don't know what to judge her on because she's not giving me anything here. What is this tweet? Oh, that's just anti-immigration. Okay. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Okay. Well, in the way of it does, but like, you know what I mean. It's not what I'm looking for. which, to be fair, she has a lot of ammunition to argue that point, that he's misleading. But I don't have any information on her environmental policies. So, honestly, this congressional race is a complete toss-up because they both suck. So I don't know. I don't know what to say on that one, I guess. It's funny because the last time I had that reaction, it was in California. So California and Texas have both of those situations are bad. I don't know. It's funny. Well, I guess we'll finish off with Virginia now. So we have Abigail Spanberg and Vega. Oh, hi, Rue. Hi. Hold on, we might have a kitten first. Let's do a kitten palate cleanser before we get to that last one, okay? Hey, Rue, come here. Hold on, he has to lick his butt. Rue bug. We'll give him a moment. He decided now is the time for deep cleaning. Well, no, the site for some reason only shows the first name of the person. Wait, his name is Yesley Vega. Where is that? Oh yeah, that's a cool name. That's a very cool name. I think he should be voted on just for that name. Oh, hey, we got a cat. Hey, bro, come here. Yay. Mwah. There's Rue. Say hi, Rue. He's like, I didn't want this. I just wanted to go outside. Why don't you listen to me, Mom? Rue, are you? Okay. And that was Rue, ladies and gentlemen. You're moving ahead, Mono. You're moving ahead. We haven't gotten there yet. Rue. Auntie Hannah. Well, hi. Auntie Hannah says hi. Sorry, Auntie and Hannah go. Auntie Hannah. There we go. Auntie Hannah says hi. He's now looking out at the other window. Okay, let's go back for the final thing. Oh, Mono, no. Okay, Representative Abigail Spanberg. So this is a woman versus woman race in this one. Interesting. Is in a fight for her political life against her Republican opponent, Prince William County Supervisor Yesley Vega. The National Republican Campaign Committee has aggressively targeted Spanberg. The moderate Democrat has twice defeated Republicans. In 2018, she unseated a Tea Party Republican incumbent, Dave Bratt. Well, that's because he was a brat. When she was first elected to House, she then beat State Del. I don't know what State Del means. State Del Nick Frentius in 2020 to win re-election. Democrats have rallied voters. Deep breaths. Democrats have rallied voters following the Supreme Court decision overturning landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling that legalized abortion. The Democratic Party in Virginia slammed Vega's anti-abortion views as too extreme for the district, and Spanberg recently launched an ad campaign on the issue. The ad highlights a comment by Vega made about abortion on the campaign trail, where she questioned the likelihood of pregnancy after rape, saying it's not something happening organically. Interesting. Okay. Women in my politics? I know, it's crazy. All right, let's look at Miss Abigail first. She's beaten 2 races so far. Can she do a third? That's exhausting. Okay, so she has her house page and then she has her running page. What the fuck does what mean? The pregnancy comment? Yeah, I don't fucking know. Okay, issues. She's got issues. Nice smile too. Her hair was well done for that. Okay. Wow, she's a lot. Okay, protecting our environment and promoting conservation. Yeah, it's not happening organically. I know that's a new one. I hadn't heard that before. Okay. As a kid, I cherished the time I spent outdoors, trekking through the woods or picnicking in the park with my family. As an adult, I know how lucky we are to have the Virginia mountains, rivers, and beaches. It is our responsibility to protect these resources for our children and generations to come by investing in alternative and renewable energy sources and decreasing air and water pollution. Very good. Climate change is a direct threat to the safety and strength of America's future. True. The science is real. Damn straight. And the next generation of Virginians is counting on us to take this threat seriously. In Congress, I have worked with colleagues in both parties to create good paying clean energy jobs, lower greenhouse gas emissions, increase energy efficiency. That's very important. A lot of people don't talk about that. And protect our air and water and safeguard Virginia's public lands for recreation and conservation alike. I was proud to support the Inflation Reduction Act, which will make smart, responsible investments towards combating climate change. The law will boost voluntary conservation programs at USDA, support clean energy jobs, and significantly cut down on pollution. I'm liking her. Practical and efficient solutions matter most when confronting the climate crisis, and that means bringing more Virginians to the decision-making table on this issue. On the U.S. House Agricultural Committee, I chair the Conservation and Forestry Subcommittee. I know that Virginia is home to many successful conservation efforts, and I have been honored to get to know many agribusinesses and farms that have long deployed voluntary conservation practices that are both beneficial for Virginia's environment and our regional economy. I am proud to be their voice in Congress. Okay, I like her. So she voted to pass the Inflation Reduction Act. Good girl. Introduced the bipartisan Growing Climate Solutions Act. Legislation passed in the U.S. Senate to a vote of 92-8 that would improve the ability of farmers and producers to take advantage of the carbon markets. Yes, I do remember that. That was a big one, and I don't talk about that one enough. That's a thing. Brought several Virginians to testify before the Conservation and Forestry Subcommittee and share their personal experiences in protecting the Commonwealth lands and watersheds. Nice. She's got a lot. I'm impressed. Yeah, okay, but I saw you say that comment already on Carlos's chat. You're not original, Mono. She's not selling me on this. Introduced bipartisan legislation to lower energy bills on farmers and ensure investment in rural American infrastructure, including the REAP Improvement Act. I haven't heard of that. Proportions of which were signed into law as part of the Inflation Reduction Act. I need to look this up. I don't know what this is. I'm just going to put a little tabby tab there for later for myself because I don't know that one. Rural Energy for America program. When did that come to Congress? 2021, 2022. Interesting. I missed that one entirely. Portions of which were signed into law as part of the Inflation Reduction Act. Okay, so she tried to get this passed. It didn't pass, but then part of it went into the Inflation Reduction Act, and that's why. Okay, got it. Why are there 2 periods? Mistake. Introduced legislation to help new and beginning farmers start or scale up their conservation practices through flexible loans, the Healthy Soil Resilient Farmers Act. I like how much she's prioritizing agriculture. That's really cool. We don't hear about that enough, you know? So I'm okay with her not having an energy section because this is very good too. Had multiple roundtables, farm tours, and panels with Virginia conservationists, agribusinesses, and farmers to discuss how we can work together to improve our region's conservation practices. Co-sponsored legislation to require the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to test for lead contamination in the water supply of all schools. Good. And led the introduction of the Climate Readiness Act, which would recognize climate change as a national security threat and require the Pentagon to assess its response strategies, which they already are to some extent, but that would be nice to have that more thoroughly understood. Wow. Okay, she wins today. She wins today for best environment page on her site. Well done. Hi, how are you doing, R. Berlin? How's it going? Agent of the Grim Reaper lost my vote. I don't support demons like that. Oh my god. Good. Lurk a while. Lurk away. We're actually, though, on our last one for the House seats. Though we might just peek at the E&E one to see what other races they have pointed to for being important for the midterms. But also, if any of you are in the U.S. and want to look at your race for the House, then let me know who your people are and we can look them up too if you want. But she wins. She's a badass, in my opinion. She wins for the environment page. And yeah, I'm really liking this gal. Let's look at Spanberg climate change. Let's look at her track record with the League of Conservation Voters. If I spell her last name right. Sorry. Okay, there she is. Imagine being in the US. You know, some people don't have that option, okay, Mono? Like, I like how many actually that are in the chat are like not even from the US. Like, I think that's hilarious. 96% lifetime record. That's impressive. The only thing she did not like is investing in climate smart and pro wildlife infrastructure, which is interesting. I wonder why she didn't approve of that. That's like her only thing. And that sounds good to me, so I don't know. There's clearly something in the bill she was not happy with. Yeah, a double 96. That's impressive. So, badass alert. Okay. That's a pretty tough act to follow there, Vesely. Let's see how you do. Did I say that name right? Is it? Yeah, Vesely. Okay. Vesely Vega. Vesely Vega for Virginia. Or I guess Yesley. How do you think that name's pronounced? Yesley or Vesely? Or Easley? Maybe it's Easley? I don't know. Do I now? Oh, yeah, I think I do. Oh, okay, but she has an issues page. So we already got to give her some credit. She has an issues page. Okay, yep. It's all Biden and Pelosi's fault for all of those issues. There's nothing having to do with global issues at all that might cause inflation at all. Also, the borders are not open, clearly. And I could continue. Let's go to nothing. Because she has no opinion. I guess inflation would probably be the closest thing that we would get to because it says the gas pump. So I actually have seen this sticker, like I did that, a little picture next to Biden. which I found funny because it works both ways. Like when the gas prices go down, then he can also point and be like, I did that. But first, Rue says that he needs to still be invited to this. Okay. You want my attention, but you don't want my attention? Hi. All right, get down. Mono, you're getting judgy. Like, there's a lot to be judged on, but let's not throw in an escort comment out there. Goodness. Okay. I have so much hair on my face now. In February 2020, the American economy had a record low unemployment rate. Inflation was low, wages were increasing, and investment and retirement income were rising. Is this here? No. Okay. Then the lockdowns were imposed and everything changed. Then the Fire Nation attacked. Yes, because COVID was totally under the government. Well, it was under the government's control, but I mean, it existing was maybe not necessarily under the government's control, but the reaction was, and lockdowns were necessary. Also, fun fact: February 2020. Who was the president in February 2020? Who was that? I think it starts with a T. Trump. Trump was president in February 2020. Yeah, she definitely wrote that herself. While some issues relating to rising inflation can be attributed to COVID-19, that's already more accepting than the thing you showed me. The fundamental lack of respect for your hard-earned money and your future is the foundation and the biggest driver of the crisis. I need a citation. Citation needed. For a decade, politicians in both parties have printed tens of... Oh, okay. What are your guys' thoughts on the whole printing argument? Because I keep seeing that mostly from libertarians. And I just, inflation is when supply and demand don't meet up. And there's a lot of reasons why supply and demand have not been able to align themselves, like the pandemic, the war, extreme weather events. So that already makes enough sense to cause inflation, but then to put the conversation of printing money in there, I don't know. It's one of those things I've been meaning to do more research on, but it's a very, very polarized topic when it comes to the printing money argument. And I feel like it's a scapegoat for dealing with global issues, in my opinion. Several mismanagement and derelegation of duty has pushed us into $30 trillion of debt, which continues to grow by the day. Right-wing lawlitarians. You have so many comments, I swear. Right-wing lawlitarians are right in that printing devalues the currency. The idea, though, is that money printed fuels for future growth and offsets it. Their position usually that the government isn't good at making value investments, though, so it's devaluing for no future gain. I see. So it's another, the government's stupid and can't be trusted unless our people are in charge of the government argument. Is that basically what that is? So, okay. Yeah, I feel like there's so many other ways that we should focus on curbing inflation that don't have to do with the printing money argument. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your opinion on that, because that's kind of my impression of it too. But like I feel like it could have it's not necessarily not true, but at the same time, like I'd imagine that, for the most part, it doesn't really make any political sense for the Federal Reserve or whatever or is that, the people that are in charge of that shit. It doesn't really make a lot of sense that they would just be printing money willy-nilly for no reason. Like, that just, you can only say that if you think that they're idiots and actually want to be booted out of office. You know what I mean? Like, you're not, it's not giving a full weight to both sides of the argument when you're saying that they're just devaluing the currency for no reason. Like, why would people just do shit for no reason? You know, like, there's obviously some reason that either just benefits them, which I can't really see how printing money would just benefit them versus how it would benefit the larger economy. So I don't know. It's a tricky one though. Yeah. Okay. Instead of acknowledging the problem, Washington has decided to double down on forcing through multi-million-dollar spending bills. Now we continue to push even more. Prudent fiscal watchdogs predict this time would come. Now here it is in crushing American families. Food and gasoline prices, construction costs, and virtually every daily household item has increased dramatically with no end in sight. So are you saying that food and gasoline prices have nothing to do with other things going on in the world? Like, that just seems really stupid. Gas prices are one example. The government limits domestic oil production, which we've already talked about how that is a non-argument for why gas prices are high, and the jobs that accompany it. You're going to get further high prices. It's economics 101 that unfortunately Joe Biden and far left Democrats in Washington refuse to acknowledge. Yeah, though, you know, the thing about economics is that economics kind of exists in a vacuum, and when you actually apply economics to humans, they don't always, it's not exactly what you think it is, you know? It's like, actually, they have like a ton of land to develop on if they wanted to, but they don't want to, because that wouldn't make them as much money as exporting it or as sitting on it. So they're not going to. And they've already expressed multiple times explicitly during the Russia-Ukrainian war that they are not going to increase production. Fossil fuel companies had said they're not going to increase production. So, and Biden has actually asked them to, and they said no. So I'm not... Yeah, exactly. Economics 101 did not pay attention to Economics 101. Oh, man. I think you're giving people too much credit. Most people are actively ignoring the gray areas on purpose. I know, but that's why I do this. They know it's more complicated than that, but truthful doesn't make punchy taglines. And, you know, that is to some credit for conservatives. They have really narrowed down these super complex nuance issues into very black and white scenarios. And it's made it really easy for people to vote on. You know, it's made it much easier for people to vote on and get riled up on. Whereas Democrats, you know, they recognize all these different nuances and all that kind of stuff. And as a result, you know, we get caught up in a lot of the little mini arguments within the larger picture, and as a result we can't agree on anything, and then we just, you know, screw ourselves over. So it's like there is some benefit of narrowing down these issues to be black and white and stupidly simple when they're not, but at the same time, like, you have to compromise your ethics and your critical thinking skills to do that. So far left Democrats alert, Antifa Joe Biden alert. Exactly. Even though Joe Biden is not the same thing as a far left Democrat by any stretch of the word. Yeah. When the government makes it more enticing for people to not work than to work, you're going to have labor shortages and increased costs for consumers. Again, Economics 101. Oh boy, it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that corporations have given shit working conditions to people for decades, and them being hampered by that on top of the pandemic resulted in a mass labor exit that is not going to go away until, I don't know, people are more enticed to work by increased wages or stable living through social programs. Crazy. Oh, man. To combat this problem, it's going to take leaders in Washington willing to be the adult in the room and say no to certain things. No, you can't do that. No. Instead of trying to be a source and sustainer in every area of people's lives, Washington needs to be the free market, but they're not. Yes, your anti ESG tirade is very free market for sure. To be a driver of our economic engine, that's the only way we're going to get ourselves out of the crisis that is hurting so many of our friends and neighbors. I meet fellow Virginians every day who are more concerned about their children and their grandchildren's future to be being mortgaged than they are getting another stimulus check signed by Joe Biden. Whatever short-term benefits our families have seen from these big spending bills are completely washed away by the increased cost of goods and deficient spending and debt from Washington it's caused. The return to a constitutionally limited government that lives within its means is the answer to solve our present economic woes as a nation. What was this originally? Limit inflation. Okay, got it. Between the carrot and the stick, it's well known that if you beat someone to death with a stick, eventually they will get a second wind and start working harder. You just need to beat them more. We must derive the economic engine by bludgeoning people with sticks. That's the message. Wait, didn't Trump give the stimulus? Yeah. Also yes, he did. Yes, he did. Okay, so those are her, I guess, honestly, that was the closest issue I could find to having anything to do with energy or environment. Yeah. So, I think we have a clear winner here. Going from a clapping sesh for Abigail to what we just saw from Vesely. I think we have a winner here. So I'm going to give the Beckosphere vote over to Abby because she's got her brain screwed on. And that was the top 12 races, I guess, for the House that need to be looked at. So let's go ahead and go through one more time. Rue? I'm having a conversation right now, Rue. I know, it's been a while, and you deserve to go outside because you've been a good little noodle, but you have to wait. Okay, so let's finish up here. First of all, Rue. How well can you guys hear him? I'm curious. Okay, starting in California, we have I don't care. They both suck. That's the formal Beckosphere opinion. They both suck. In Colorado, we definitely Caraveo is way ahead of Kirkmeyer in the way of climate conscious policy initiatives. So definitely Caraveo. In Maine, definitely Jared Golden is golden. In Michigan, Eliza Slotkin had one of the best pages I'd seen. She's great. Not Barrett. In New Hampshire, Chris won last week's best environment energy related page with his takes. So he is definitely way over Leavitt, who should be left. Leavitt left. You thought it was Rosie. Does Rosie have a similar meow? I thought her meow was a little more purry. Rue's just yelling. And both of these candidates actually showed to be pretty capable when it came to climate-related policies. So New Jersey has a pretty good selection. New Mexico, definitely Yvette. She was way more... Oh, wait, sorry. Oh, my gosh. Definitely Vasquez. Oh, my gosh. I was like, wait, that's not right. Definitely Vasquez. Yvette did not have good takes. In Nevada, definitely Dina. Dina had a lot of good takes, though they were kind of short, but she was supported by the conservative league. Landsman is a bit better than Chatbox. Both suck. Both suck in Texas, and I don't care. Both suck. But actually, we did see that Collier did have a decent voting record, at least better than we thought. He is not reliable. He's got a 50% vote record on voting for climate things. And then finally, we definitely want to support Spanberger over Vega, because Vega doesn't have any opinions when it comes to energy, but she has worked with Ted Cruz, so we can only imagine. She didn't work with Ted Cruz. The other lady worked with Ted Cruz, right? Oh, okay. Well, she had takes. Vega had takes. She didn't have any energy takes per se, but we can infer from her other takes that her energy takes might not be excellent. But most importantly, Abigail had the best environment page of the day. So she is by far an excellent environmentally focused candidate to vote for in the midterms. Right. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, no. Even though he had a subpar voting record, but better than probably what Garcia would do, he casually is a shit show. So, yeah. Got some oil interests. Got some Texas and some Algeria oil interests. So not great. So both candidates here suck. And yeah, those are the House races from here. Let me see if I can get the E&E News one up just real quick to see if there's any other ones that we should quickly look at. But honestly, I've been doing this longer than I should, or not should, but like longer than I was planning to already. And I'm way behind in my last climate recap episode of the week. So I'm probably going to go after this, but let me just take a quick look-see at, it was E&E News. Let me just type in E&E News. Yeah, here it is. My, oh my, oh my. Oh yeah, so Alaska. So we'll go ahead and just do a little bit of reading on this first, okay? So Alaska had just elected Democrat Mary Peltola in a major win. It was the first time that a Democrat got that seat in a long time, I do believe. And she's also the first Native Alaskan to be elected into the House. She's pro-fish, and she does align herself with the state's oil and gas industry. So she supports drilling in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. So she's not great. And I don't think that the other option's great either. But it doesn't necessarily say much about the other person, so yeah. Oh, maybe he's the option again. I don't know. Profish is not vegan, but it could support conservation, which just supports like the non-collapse of the marine ecosystem. So that could be good. But yeah, if she's supportive of oil and gas industry, that's just really unfortunate. I was expecting better from her. So yeah, Alaska's got no good option. What's new? Arizona. So we have Energy and Commerce member Tom O'Halloran, which is a third-term moderate Democrat. He's been active on cleaning up abandoned uranium mines in the Navajo Nation and protecting against forest fires. So that's good. but he faced some criticism from Native American groups for not being more vocal about his opposition to the proposed Resolution copper mine. Interesting. And his opponent is a former Navy SEAL. And yeah, okay, not much to be said there. Oh, another California District one. This one's different. I don't think that's quite the case, Mono. She's pro-fish in the sense that she's pro-sea level rise to provide new area for fish to live in Miami. Seals are anti-fish because they eat them. You're so funny. Also, I missed other things that you've said. You've said much. Mary Pelosi. Okay, so apparently there's another California district to keep an eye on. It's also in the Central Valley, so that's not surprising at all. So, you got retiring Democratic Jerry McNerney. So now the new district is even more Democratic than before, maybe? Okay. So his opponent is Republican Tom Patty. Wait, okay. Okay, got it. So he's retiring. We're looking at Josh Harder. Josh Harder is active on agriculture issues, including proposing new federal grant programs to incentivize farmers to reduce emissions and question whether the Forest Service has enough firefighters to combat wildfire threats. Cool. Harder holds large fundraising edge, though Patty, a one-time amateur boxer, has received fundraising help from his former sparring partner, legendary heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. Wow, that took a turn. Tyson, what are you doing? Okay. Oh, and we can also see like leans Democrat, leans Republican. So leans Republican on this one. I don't care. Leans Republican on this one. I really, I think that's bad for Native Americans, I guess, because I didn't see anything here that said that he cared about Native Americans, the Eli guy. Sup, Eco Resto Dragon? How's it going? How's it going? We're just finishing up. We're looking at what other big house races we should keep an eye on. In California, it looks like Mike Tyson has entered the conservative side. So I didn't know his opinions on politics, but cool. But yeah, it seems like it's leaning Democrat, which is good because Harder does seem like a proponent for reducing emissions. So that's good. Another California district, very interesting. This one also leans Democratic. Access to water will be a key issue in the race, represents this newly created district in the agriculture-rich Central Valley. Another Central Valley one. The Democratic nominee, California Assembly member Adam Gray, earlier this year led an effort to defeat state legislation against issuing new water rights permits. The bill, critics said, would have hurt water storage projects important to farmers. Interesting. I think it's probably good. I think that's good. Because we don't have that much water to give, so you probably don't want to issue more rights. And you do want to encourage water storage. So, Gray's Republican opponent, John Durt, an owner of a family-run nursery, battled the Army Corps of Engineers in court over his plowing on land considered wetlands. Okay, so he sucks. Anyone who messes with wetlands immediately sucks. If you don't know, wetlands is extremely biodiverse and emissions storing ecosystem, very important for conservation. We need to conserve as many wetlands and peatlands as we can because they store more carbon per acreage than forests. Gray, a moderate, is not popular with environmentalists. Yeah, because of his criticism of the California Air Resources Board and the $50,000 he received from a super political action committee linked to the energy giant Chevron this spring. He just gets better and better, doesn't he? Duarte has nearly outraised Gray. Interesting. Okay, so both of these candidates suck is what I'm hearing. So they both suck. Okay, cool. That seems to be a theme with the Central Valley in California. It's just they're all in the pockets of like either big agriculture or fossil fuels, or, you know, like they don't seem to care about the environment in the Central Valley. I don't know what to say. So that's fun. And Duarte is strongly backed by Kevin McCarthy, who represents the Central Valley community. So that if that tells you anything about the Central Valley, who they are being represented by, there you go. While the 13th district has a Democratic tilt, both parties will see the race as winnable in one or more conservative parts of the state with strong Hispanic population. Yeah, so that race, don't care, they both suck. California has another one. This one actually is the one we already looked at, which both suck. So there you go. California has another one. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, this one will likely lean Republican. This one's a toss-up. Interesting. Democrats believe they have their best shot in years to unseat veteran Republican Ken Calvert in a redrawn district that now is evenly split between the parties. Calvert. We love Chevron, don't we, folks? Yeah, Chevron's great. It's an amazing time. We appreciate it. They're wonderful. They've done nothing but good things for this country. My gosh. Calvert, the mainstream conservative, touts his seniority in the Appropriations Committee, which has allowed him to steer hundreds of millions of dollars to the inland Southern California district. As a top interior environment proprietor, he favored Trump's efforts of slashing EPA funding. Boy, he just does sound like a quality gent, doesn't he? Calvert's opponent is Will Rollins, a former federal prosecutor who has campaigned by saying that Calvert believes climate change is a hoax. Interesting. National Democrats have gotten involved in the race after the seat was redrawn to include the more progressive Palm Springs, an LGBTQ stronghold. Fascinating. Among Rollins' more proponent backers is the former State Environment and Public Works Chair Barbara Boxer, who has retired to Palm Springs and has been a fundraiser and mentor for his campaign. Wow. Okay, 41st District I'm going to keep an eye on in particular, because that's one that I actually, you know, there seems to actually be a dog in the game here, because I mean, actually none of this necessarily says what Rollins actually cares about, but and he is a federal prosecutor, so there is that. But he is telling the other guy that climate change is that he believes climate change is a hoax. So I don't know. I actually really don't know anything about this. Tells me absolutely nothing about Will. Maybe there just isn't much to know. Another California one. How many California? Another one? Okay, we have 2 more California ones. Jeez. I'm feeling targeted. Okay, this one, it leans Democrat, it looks like. Progressive firebrand Katie Porter. Oh no, Katie Porter's up for... We gotta re-elect Katie Porter. Katie Porter's bae. We have to. I don't even... Go away, Scott. Don't touch my Katie. She's great. This one I'm going to get fired up about, okay? Katie is awesome. Everybody support Katie. She's great. Katie Porter. Okay, okay, Katie Porter, fossil fuels. Let's see if I can find the video. I think, yes. Is that? She's amazing. Oh no, this is the one. Go over here. Oh, my rate's going to be struggling after this one, but it's worth it. And I also can't put the audio on very well, so I'm just going to put my mic up against the computer and hope you guys can hear it. Sorry.
We've heard a lot about future plans for investment in renewable energy today. Ms. Watkins, Shell's 2020 annual report called for between $19 and $22 billion in near-term spending. I'm representing that with this container of M&Ms. Each M&M represents about $50 million in spending. Ms. Watkins, how much has Shell said it will spend in the near term on oil, gas, and chemical operations?
I think you just said we're going to be spending between 18 and $20 billion this year.
That's near term on total spending. How much on oil, gas, and chemical operations?
We're going to be spending.
Well, according to your annual report, you said you're going to spend 16 to 17 billion for oil, gas, and chemical, with another $3 billion for marketing. How much is Shell spending to spend on renewable energy?
This year we'll be spending between $2 and $3 billion.
2 and 3 billion on renewables and energy solutions. In your testimony, you said, quote, meeting the demand for reliable energy while simultaneously addressing climate change is a huge undertaking and one of the defining challenges of our time. Shell has made these promises before. Shell pledged to spend $6 billion between 2017 and 2020 on renewable energy. How much of that did Shell actually spend? The answer is about half. Ms. Watkins, does this look like a huge undertaking to you?
Congresswoman, what I can tell you is that there needs to be both a demand and a supply of clean energy, which is why we're working very closely with our customers so that that demand increases over time and we are
Ms.
ready
Watkins,
to supply.
to me, this does not look like an adequate response to one of the defining challenges of our time. This is greenwashing. Shell is trying to fool people into thinking that it's addressing the climate crisis when what it's actually doing is to continue to put money into fossil fuels. Mr. Summers, do you recognize the following statement? Banning federal leasing and development on federal lands and waters would derail decades of U.S. energy progress.
I do, Congresswoman.
That's your statement. How many of the Department of Interior's approved and ready to drill permits are currently unused?
Congresswoman, it takes a long time to develop these leases that
I
oil and
appreciate that,
gas
Mr. Summers.
companies.
I'm just asking how many permits are unused?
Congresswoman, I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding as to how these
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Summers, there are 7,700 permits unused. How many acres of public land are already leased by fossil fuel companies and not even used yet, just available or drilling whenever you decide?
Congresswoman, again, I think you have a fundamental misunderstanding as to how this process works and the time and resources.
Reclaiming my time. The answer is 13.9 million acres. To visualize how much land
Her
it is,
thing is
if
oversight.
each grain of rice were 1 acre, that would be 479 pounds of rice. The American Petroleum Institute even opposed pausing more leasing on our lands. They even sued to stop it because apparently this acreage wasn't enough. Mr. Wirth, you serve on the American Petroleum Institute's executive committee. Do you support a pause on new oil and gas leases on federal land?
Congresswoman, access to resource in this country is essential to ensure the energy security of our country and
reclaiming my time. Mr. Lawler, do you support a pause?
The administration, and it's our hope that the pause ends soon. We think it's important to go
reclaiming
forward.
My time. Thank you for your answer. The answer there is no. Mr. Woods, do you support a pause on new federal and gas leases?
No.
Ms. Watkins, do you support a pause on new federal and gas leases?
No, I do not, because I think it's important.
You already have 13.9 million acres. This is equivalent to Maryland and New Jersey combined. How much more do you need? How much more acreage? You have 2 of our 50 states at a price that makes the Louisiana Purchase look like a ripoff, and you're not even using it. What more do you need? Iowa, Colorado, Virginia? Our public land belongs to the American people, not to big oil. When you lobby and you sue so that you could take more of our public land, you're saying too much is never enough. The American people are tired of this charade.
So that's Katie Porter. Isn't she a gem? She's actually a gem. Which is why we need to protect the Katie Porter. You understand? We need to protect the Katie Porter. Katie Porter must win. We must protect the Katie Porter. There are a few people that I will actually like work with to help stay in office, and Katie Porter is one of them because she is a fucking badass. Yeah, no, and she her license plate says oversight. The fucking license plate is oversight, and she is just the best suburban mom ever. See, it even got a lurker out from lurking for a second. Okay, that's how impactful she is. Yes. So if you didn't see that, you're welcome, because she's a gem. And that's not the only time that she had been completely handing oil execs asses to them. So I encourage you to check out some more. Let me speak to all 5 managers. She's a Karen for good. We call those Karens for good. She is a Karen for good. Oh my God. So yes, hashtag protect Katie Porter. Do me a favor, if y'all are on like Twitter, you should just share that video under the hashtag save Katie Porter. And let's just create a movement of hashtag save Katie Porter. Yes, the whiteboard one's another really good one too. Yeah, so I recommend you guys watch more. We could have a whole watch Katie Porter session when I figure my shit out with getting a PC and being able to do things. So yeah. when I don't have to hold a mic to the computer, we'll do a Katie Porter session, assuming she wins, which it says it leans Democrat. So hopefully it stays that way, because dear Lord, she needs to stick around. Like, if she doesn't win, then I hope she's going to run for governor or something, because she should. Yeah. Oh man. I mean, she is also getting the campaign totals completely. So I don't even know how this is a toss-up, to be perfectly honest. But okay. Okay, and then the last California one we got to keep an eye on is Democratic Representative Mike Levin faces a rematch against Republican Brian Marriott. Is he related to the Marriott hotels? Is that spelled right? I don't know. A former San Juan Capistrano mayor in this coastal Southern California district that gained Republican voters in redistricting. Levin, now in his second term, bested Marriott by 6 points in 2020. The Democrat made combating climate change a priority. That's unusual. Serving on the Select Committee on the Climate Crisis and Natural Resources Committee. Hey, he's a good one. He has introduced numerous bills aiming to spur clean and renewable energy production. Have I heard of him before? I think I've heard Mike Levin before. I think his name is familiar to me. While both candidates oppose drilling off the California coast, that's good. They otherwise take different approaches on battling emissions. Like many Republicans, Marriott favors investing in technologies that would allow cleaner energy production. Levin supports the expansion of the Green New Deal. I mean, this isn't even like many Republicans, to be fair, but it's probably in the form of clean capture technology or something like that, if I had to guess. Levin will likely look to tie Marriott to Trump, who is unpopular in the centralist district. Levin holds the cash edge, but Marriott has already put $1 million of his own money into the race and could spend more. So basically, the guy's rich. Like, you shouldn't support him anyways. Okay, so I'll keep it on that. And now we are on Colorado. How long am I going to go? There's a lot. I don't think I'm going to keep going. I'm going to instead put this in the chat so that y'all can keep an eye on this because it's important. Yeah. There we go. There's the link so you guys can have access to this because it's important to keep track. But I do have to remember that I still have responsibility of trying to get up another climate recap episode today because I have been so slacking on that one. So I think with that then, I'm going to simply say, if you have not followed me, definitely follow me. What are you doing? Duh. Hopefully I will be an affiliate soon so that I can be supported in other ways to continue this work, because after this stream, I will be able to apply for being an affiliate. So that's very exciting. As a reminder, I am working on going to get a PC, but also hopefully my affiliate thing comes through so that y'all can help me with that a little bit. Telling me what to do gets you an unfollow. Don't you do that, Mono. Be nice. Be nice. Be a good person, Mono. And anyways, so that being said, unless you guys know someone that we should raid, that is available at this time, I think I'm going to call it a day. But please definitely check out the Beccasphere Climate Corner YouTube channel if you haven't. I give up with you then. I don't know what to say about you. Yes, follow my YouTube channel if you don't already, because that's where a lot of the climate news that I talk about on Tuesdays now gets put out into the world. So check that out. And then also I have, I'm now on TikTok and I'm on Instagram. And right now I'm basically just posting short versions of like one of the stories that I post in the larger recap stories. So if you're more of a short story person, you can, or short video person, you should check out my links, which are also in my bio. But yeah, so anyways, that is all I have to say. Thank you for following me and supporting me and caring about this topic. It's people like you that give me hope. And make sure that you vote climate if you are in the US in particular, but definitely regardless of where you are, vote climate. So yeah, remember to talk about the climate crisis every single day and to support your local news organizations.